Hey everyone, it's been a little while. Been so busy, and we'll get to why in a moment. I guess the big news is we got approved on Whatnot. So about a week ago, I finally got the account approved, and yeah, I've been busy selling over the past week, and it's been crazy. It's been going really well. So what I thought today, I'd take you through some of the challenges I've had getting onto Whatnot, some of the good things I've had on Whatnot, some of the tips and tricks maybe that I've picked up over this first week. Yeah, so we did get onto Whatnot. It was a bit of a challenge. I think probably the biggest, what probably happened was I applied way back before it launched in Australia. I think it was when Bearded Thrift Machine started selling on Whatnot that I actually applied through his seller link. And I think that maybe caused some issues in the background when Whatnot launched in Australia. I went round and round in circles with support, trying to get an account approved, but was put on the kind of wait list. I tried applying with some other emails and telephone numbers and addresses, which I think flagged something in the back end and kind of put it on a watch list, which maybe also added to the problem. But I kept on kind of talking to support, and yeah, finally they kind of deleted everything and we started again, and it was pretty much instant approval, which was really cool. So yeah, that evening or the next evening, I jumped on and did my first show. If you're still having problems getting onto Whatnot, I would say just keep trying, keep talking to support. Once you get past the kind of bots and stuff and actually talk to somebody, then things can progress fairly quickly. I don't think they've got local Australian support at the moment, so it's all coming out of the US. They are responsive, just on the US time. So do keep chatting to them, do keep trying to get onto Whatnot. They are accepting more and more sellers. One thing I would say is join the Whatnot Australia community group. I think I was listening to Tanaban's stream last night saying that Whatnot were now engaging that group as part of like a part of their stakeholder model, which I think is really cool. I think the group's up to like 300 people now, really friendly, lots of advice, and really building a good community there. Lots of tips and tricks. I'll have the link down in the comments so you can join that if you're a seller. Yeah, lots of tips and tricks about shipping, postage, issues with customers, OBS settings. If you've got a problem, they're the people to ask. Lots of people in different niches as well, so lots of advice on selling different things on Whatnot. So well worth a visit. Make sure you jump in there and take a look. So yeah, I got online and I went and did my first show the next night. It was probably a bit of a mistake. I probably should have prepared a little bit more. I initially set up with a GoPro connected to the laptop, trying to run OBS, and my laptop just wasn't up to it. The OBS stream just failed. It was super laggy. So I ended up just streaming directly from the browser with the GoPro and just the microphone off my laptop, which seemed to work quite well. Problem with the GoPro though wasn't the zoom on it wasn't great, and the quality wasn't great, especially for the smaller things. So I would say maybe start with your phone. It is super simple. You just kind of click a few buttons and you start streaming. I haven't streamed on the phone, but I'm assuming it is super simple on the phone as well, probably more so. But I like the idea of being a little bit more interactive. So I wanted to have a camera where I could get in front and talk to people like this and sell stuff. Problem being that the GoPro wasn't really set up for that. I was really lucky, and probably more on this in another video, is that I managed to pick up a small business grant, and as part of that I've got this new camera, some wireless microphones, a new laptop, some video editing software, but I'll do another post about that. I need to get it approved by the people that gave me the grant. So that's pretty cool. So now hopefully not only will my Whatnot selling be at a better quality, better video, sound, but also my YouTube videos, especially as we go into kind of storage units and do some thrifting and stuff. Hopefully this camera and the sound and the lighting will be a lot better. We've got some light boxes as well coming, so loads of cool stuff. I'm really trying to uplift both my content game this year, but also the business game, and definitely Whatnot was part of that strategy in getting onto Whatnot and start selling. Stuff that I kind of think I might need, maybe some backdrops. I'm using this as the backdrop at the moment, which isn't great. So I want to kind of go in my other room and make a nice backdrop, make an area that kind of presents maybe a bit more of a professional image, but also I can show some of the stuff off that I'm going to be selling over the coming weeks. So I'm probably going to work on that over this weekend. I think the other thing I'm really missing is like a little rotating display type of thing. Because at the moment, whatever I'm selling just sits there, and I think it'd be really cool if you can put it on like a little rotating thing, and it goes round, and you can see all sides of the product, which frees up my hands to then do the administration behind the scenes. So yeah, I think I've run 5 shows now. All apart from one went really well. The first one was great. Again, from the Facebook group, there was lots of support. Loads of people jumped in. Loads of encouraging comments. People bought a ton of stuff. I ran comics. So out of the 3,400 lot, I just sold comics at $2. Yeah, it was a steep learning curve. One, the administration of how you build piles and make sure that people get the right comics. 2, just making sure you're keeping track of the number of which number you're on, but also then having to interact with people and keep the stream interesting during that period was challenging. I'm not a super outgoing person, so it took a lot of energy, but also there was definitely dead periods where I wasn't talking because I was either focused on packaging something up or I just ran out of things to say. So definitely have a think about what you're going to say and what you're going to talk about before you start your stream, and it really helps if you like chatting and more outgoing. I've got better over the shows. I'm a little bit more relaxed. I'm a little bit less stressed. I'm starting to build those processes, so it's all coming a little bit more naturally now. And I think as you get to know people on the platform as well, you build those relationships, so you can have more of a conversation with people rather than just randoms. And I think that's something that I really like of Whatnot over eBay, is actually interacting with the people that are buying things off you. It's not just a username on the screen. You actually start to build a relationship as you chat with them, and I think one of the guys last night was just talking about how he'd moved to Australia and the experience of that. So it's not always just about the selling; it's about the community as well, which I really like. I think that's a cool thing. The one show that didn't go so well, I did a show around the die-cast military aircraft models that I've got. I think they're super cool, and I ran it as like a Top Gun themed show. I had my Top Gun shirt on, had the Top Gun soundtrack playing in the background. Crickets, absolute crickets. I ran for 30 minutes. There's maybe like 2 or 3 comments in the channel, and we sold nothing. I think they are super cool. I think maybe they were a little bit too niche at the moment, and also I ran it, I think it was like 11 o'clock on a Tuesday night, so maybe there weren't enough people around. So maybe I'll run those again another weekend, maybe build out a bit more of like a military themed show. We'll see. That's the only show that hasn't gone well. I also sold the gaming lot that I've got leftovers here. Pretty much all of the gaming lot went in 2 shows. The GoPro overheated and died, so I had to kill the stream after 3 hours. But the gaming shows went well. I did another gaming show last night. So in about a week, over the 4 or 5 shows, I think we've done, I want to say $1,500, $2,000 worth of sales, which is really good compared to what I'd sell in eBay in that time frame. So I think Whatnot's really good for, you need the volume. You definitely need the volume to be able to do the shows. I'm aiming for 150 to 200 items per show. So you definitely need the stock. So if you're just selling 1 or 2 items, maybe not the place, maybe eBay is going to be better for you. But if you've got lots of items, especially kind of the lower value stuff, get it out there. I've seen people sell like expensive stuff too. I think there's Retro Wazzy, I think he runs a store somewhere here in Perth. He just wanders around with his phone and shows people the cool stuff he's got in his store. Takes a percentage off the retail price, puts it up for auction, and people buy it. So there's definitely customers out there who are looking for those higher value items as well. But for me, at the moment, it's more of a volume game. I think once I get a bit more comfortable and build up a bit more of a following, maybe then we can go into some of the higher priced items. I'll add a link down here. So Whatnot are doing $150. So if you sell, I think it's is it 100 items? Oh no, you have to sell a certain amount, you have to sell to a certain amount of people, you have to stream for a certain amount of period. I think it's like stream for 2 hours, sell to 5 people, and maybe do, whatever it was, $150 in sales. They'll then match that. And also for the first month, there's no fees. So if you're keen and you're interested, I'll put a link here, you can scan that, and that'll take you to sign up as a seller. But also if you're a buyer, if you're not keen on selling, you just want to buy stuff, I'll add another link over here as well, which will give you $15 credit when you sign up through the link. That can be used anywhere on the platform. You don't have to spend it with me. You can spend it with any seller on the platform. And they're growing day in, day out, and there's everything on there. So that's pretty cool. Onto kind of some of the technicalities. So inventory management is something I'm still debating over the best way to do it. There's two ways to do it really. I think you either preload all of your items just like you would on eBay. You write a description, you put an image, you put the price, you put the DIMs. Or you can just do like a generic image. So you make, say you're selling DVDs, you just go DVD is shown on screen, and then you create 100 of those quantity, and then you just sell those off one after another. The advantage of preloading the actual stuff that you're selling is that people can pre-bid on it, which kind of encourages people to get their bids in early. Maybe they're going to leave, but also, you know, it then encourages a bit of a bidding war once those items come up, because they're already being bid on. And if people have got like an auto bid on, then then it auto bids up to whatever their max bid is, which I think is a good thing. It does take a lot of time to put that data in, especially if you're not guaranteed on selling it, perhaps. The other good thing is that you can put the size and weights of the specifics in there, which really helps with the shipping, which we'll get to in a minute. On the flip side, it'll take you 5 minutes, if that, to create 100 DVD items, and then you just clicking them, sell next, sell next, sell next. So if that's, it's really good when you've got lots of things of the same size and weight. But if you've got loads of random stuff on your stream, you might need 2 or 3 profiles, like a small, medium, and large. But still, when it comes to shipping, you might find your shipping is out because people have bought a bunch of random stuff. I'm still debating which ways to go. I've run both. There's pros and cons to both of them, and I think it will really depend on what I'm selling as to whether I preload the inventory in there. What else? Shipping. So shipping, I think shipping, I've heard a lot of kind of noise about shipping and whatnot. I think it's actually pretty good, especially when you're selling small amounts. Super quick and easy. Whatnot handles all the shipping for you. It handles all the pricing. It really relies on your size and weight of items, so be aware of that. And when people are buying, and I've had people buy like 25, 30 items from me, when it bundles those together, it cubes the weight. And if you haven't got your sizes right, then you can run into issues. Support have sorted everything out that I've had a problem with, so it's not been a massive issue, but it is just something to be aware, and more so that it's overcharging your customers for postage. And I think it's an area that Whatnot need a tweak, especially in Australia. It might be slightly different to the US model, and saying that there's no link to your AusPost business either, so be aware of that. Yeah, shipping otherwise is really easy. You put in your size and weights. It combines it all. The customer is shown how much they're going to pay postage when they're buying the item at the time of auction, and it does bundle. So say you're selling 2 comics, it will charge them whatever it is, $8.56 for the first item, and then because there's no extra volume being added, when you add another comic, they pretty much get shipping for free, or that shipping is halved, which encourages people to buy more. Also, you can turn on weekly bundling, so customers can decide if they want to kind of make the most of that kind of postage bundling. They can just have one shipment come out per week, which I really like. It means that I can do all my because the end of the postage period is on Sunday evening, so it means that I can do all of my postage on Monday morning. And most people turn it on. I have a few people who don't because they want the item sooner, perhaps. But I think that's a cool feature as well. What does happen, so when you're going through and you do your postage, you have to what I've been doing is packing the item and then changing the size and weight to actuals. From what I understand, you can have 5 cases where, say, the weight or the cubic weight increases, and Whatnot will cover that for you, perhaps. What I've found, all the ones that I've done, I've actually reduced the size of the package or reduced the weight of the package, which doesn't count towards those 5. I'm guessing because it's cheaper postage for Whatnot. However, it does leave a funny feeling that the customer isn't getting the best postage deal that they could. Like when I combine my postage on eBay, I will always combine to the smallest kind of shipping that I can for the customer and give the customer the refund, give the money back to the customer, which I think is good customer service. So I still think there's some tweaks there that Whatnot can do. I have heard if people are unhappy with the shipping, they can contact Whatnot support on the customer side, because it is between the customer and eBay, not between customer and Whatnot, and not ourselves. And sometimes I've heard of people getting refunds, so it might be something to investigate. But I definitely think at some point they've got to integrate Ozpost Business with Whatnot, or at least have the option to, because then at least then you get to use your band discounts and you're a little bit more in control of what the customer's being charged for postage. There are some other tweaks, like you can pay the postage yourself, or you can cap the shipping. Haven't explored those options yet, and maybe that's something I'll do in the future. But for now, I'm finding shipping pretty easy. It prints out nice labels on my Dymo. One thing though, it does ask to print out the packing list each time, which for me is redundant, and especially when you're printing it out on a label printer. It tries to print out the packing list on your labels, which just gets expensive, especially with the dynamos. So the last thing really is the community. I found it's a really good community. At the moment there's a lot of resellers, a lot of kind of even retail stores on there. I think the buyer community is growing, and I think the more and more we talk about it, and the more that we continue bringing quality products to the platform, the more buyers that will come. It's definitely growing exponentially at the moment. I think every day I'm seeing people doing their first shows, which is really good, because it adds a lot of variety to the platform. Everybody's been really supportive. There's been no kind of trolls. There's been nobody being mean. There's some really good banter going on between people. You're starting to build those relationships, which I think is really cool. I've met a whole bunch of people that maybe I wouldn't bump into in other realms of life. I'm not a comic guy. I'm not a games guy. I just like cool stuff, and I like giving cool stuff to other people. So I'm more about the hunt than the sales, and it's been really good kind of jumping into those, into the the Facebook chat, into different people's streams, seeing how they're selling, what they're selling, and just people having a good time and really being passionate about the things that they're buying. I know I was selling like some Japanese PS2 games last night. Absolutely no idea about them. It's all in Japanese, but there was people there that did know about them and were able to talk about them and describe them, which was really cool. And I think that's probably my favorite thing about eBay, is that I think that's my favorite thing about Whatnot, is that you're interacting with the people that are buying your things. It's not just a username on eBay, and it's people that are passionate about the things that they're buying as well, which I think is super cool. And I'm really looking forward to see how this grows. And I think it's going to grow really big. I've heard it called the TV shopping channel of our generation, but there's everybody on there. I've seen teenagers selling, I've seen nanas selling, I've seen people selling knitwear, what are they, Squishmallows, Hot Wheels cars, knickknacks and collectibles, teacups, comics, stamps, coins, everything. And I think it's just going to grow as people realize that there's another global marketplace, because you can sell globally as well, of people that are really passionate about their niches. So overall, it's been a really good experience. I'm really enjoying it. It is a lot of work, especially the packing at the moment. I still haven't got my packing down right, but I think it's going to be well worth it, and it's really going to boost my business. I've definitely seen a boost this first week. So yeah, Whatnot. Welcome to the world of Whatnot. I'm still selling on eBay. I think probably the higher priced items I'll still chuck onto eBay, until at least I'm confident that I've got the following on Whatnot, to be able to get fair value for them. As much as I've given people deals, it is a business, and hoping this will become a full-time business at some point in my life, or at least when I retire anyway. So yeah, do need to make some dollars, but really enjoying it, really recommend it. Get on the Whatnots. I'm not sure how I'm going to do the picking and packing with the Whatnots. I don't know if I will. I might just live stream the show to YouTube, which I think is also an option. And that way you get to see the show and what we sell and how much it sells for, which I think would be kind of cool. All right. I've got a whole bunch of packing to do. Sorry for the lack of updates. It's been a bit of a manic week. There we go. Whatnot. Get on it.